Hello, and
Hello.
happy Monday, chat. Welcome to another edition of Titan Talk. I'm Isiah Kilgoon with me as usual, and Pon is joining us because today we got a big show. We're going to be going over all the stuff in our Open Beta 8 update. We've got Kali, which we're going to kick off the show with, and a lot of other stuff that's in the update.
Yeah, once again, it is 2 weeks since the last time we did a patch note show, and I am consistently astonished by the amount of stuff we get done in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Because today we're going to be going over Kali.
Yep.
There's a new aspect.
Yep.
There's God Builder, which it's not like the final product, but like it's going to be an OB8, so we're going to show it off. There's
the Item Specialization
Item
Pass,
Specialization Pass, which is huge. There's a new function called quips.
Yeah.
There's some new skins. There's some other balance stuff. There's a new objective on the Conquest map.
Yeah.
There's just a ton of stuff, guys, and it's been 2 weeks. So
I know, right?
Once again, I'm stoked. I hope y'all are stoked too, and we should just get into it because
I know, right?
3 hours.
We're going to be here for a long time. Probably won't have a whole lot of time for Q&A, but we'll see as we progress through the show because we do have a lot to talk about. And let's kick things off with Kali. And as I get everything set up, Pon, do you want to give us the TLDR on Kali and Smite 2 and how she's going to look as I get things ready?
Yeah, so Kali is the traditional chainsaw assassin, the one that you want to build a chins on. Just auto attack a ton. And we wanted to bring her over. We have a lot of cool things to make her feel a bit better. So the first biggest thing is that she's actually a hybrid scaler as well. So she has a ability playstyle path focusing on intelligence.
Yep.
And she has her in-hand focus style focus on strength and attack speed. So that's the first thing you'll notice about her is if you want to do more ability damage, you're going to go more intelligence. If you're going to go more in-hand, you're going to go strength. Mm-hmm. And to facilitate the fact that you want to do some ability damage, she only has really 2 damaging abilities. Her ult does damage, but her 3 hasn't done damage before. It now does deal damage with a new feature on her passive called Rupture. So I don't know if we're in game and we can see.
We are. Yes.
So you can see the little circles underneath the character as you deal auto attack damage, as you hit people with your 2, as you hit people with your first ability. You'll gain these stacks on targets, and then you can consume them with your 3 to do a burst of damage, and you get a burst of healing based off that as well. So you kind of siphon off these rupture stacks off your targets and do quite a big burst of damage. This is good for you if you just want sustain, as you can build it up to sustain yourself. But if you actually go pure intelligence scaling, this thing can chunk.
Oh, yeah.
So
you called it out, intelligence scaling. So she's going to be hybrid scaling, correct,
yes,
Pon?
hybrid scaling. So we got the full-on hybrid scaling treatment. Her abilities have mixed scaling, depending on what we want to focus on for that specific ability. Her healing and her 3 damage are more in focus, whereas if you're going to go more in-hand on her, we know that she has an attack chain that's really good for that. So her strength scalings are about what you expect to see. They're not really crazy high because she gets all that stuff from like chin size, which actually we'll get into. Chin size might not be your fault anymore.
These times they are changing.
But yeah, she has the overall core of her kit is very much the same from Smite 1 to Smite 2 in regards to you want to mark your target with your passive, you want to try and jump on them, get the kill on them to get the big burst of heal and the bonus gold. Your 1, you can leap on low health targets, get a heal. Your 3, you can still stun, and it still gives you strength and intelligence now. You can see that we have the target selection to select the target as well. So all that stuff that you know and love from Kali is still there, but this extra rupture mechanic on top of what we had before just adds an extra layer of different playstyle to her and gives her an extra award to shoot for when she's like fighting on target. So the biggest thing to note is if you 2-1 someone, your 2, each projectile will give 1 stack of rupture, and your 1 will immediately give 3. So you can actually really quickly stack this up to burst. So if you're going to go all in on someone, that's kind of your all in committal tool.
2, 1, 3 to consume those stacks of rupture. Yeah.
And then the red indicates your target.
Yes, the red pip, which this is all, and we should mention this. This is still, some stuff is temp. So I know, for example, in this version, the 2 projectile, the middle ones looks a little bit weird. We still need some art paths on some of the things. I believe she has some new artwork coming in as well, which isn't representative on the screen.
Yeah, her card art. This is the old card art. She does have new card art with her tongue out and red eyes. So
yes,
and we'll have that to look forward to, chat.
And as chat has mentioned, she does have a skull instead of these traditional incense, and she does have skull necklaces, which is going to be hard for you to see in this point of view. But you can see the skull incense holder.
Yeah, correct. There's also she also doesn't have high heels anymore, which was a weird thing about the old model.
Yeah.
And if you back, you can like see the front of her. She also now has like abs. She doesn't have like cloth over her middle. So
lots of model tweaks as well there, which is really cool. Just one other small subtle thing is the ult also now ticks a lot faster. That's nice. Also because you apply rupture stacks with each tick, so it's a really good way to build that up. It also fixes like this is a small micro pet peeve that I had, which was as you rank it up, the duration gets longer, but because the tick rate was bigger than the duration you got, you actually like didn't get the full amount of ticks based off the duration extending. So now that actually maps. So every single rank you upgrade, you'll get an extra tick functionally.
Yeah.
So just a nice touch there. But yep, Kali coming to Smite 2. I think the int build especially has been a lot of fun to try, and you just kind of dive into the middle of the team, pop your ult, and then try and siphon as many people and just do a huge burst of damage. And it also makes your healing really, really good as well.
For sure.
Yeah, she has been doing really well in our playtest on a variety of builds, right? Like,
yes.
I've seen crit Kali, I've seen on-hit Kali, I've seen int Kali, and like they all have their own unique twist on how you play her, but they all work.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's been really cool to see. I think that she's been a very successful character so far.
She's probably a little strong in our test.
Oh, maybe a little strong right now. The other thing, the one design change I will note is that, you want to talk about it? Go for it.
Yeah, so one change that we had in Smite 1, towards the end of Smite 1, where we had Kali get the ability to select a target with her leap.
Yes.
That's one that we know there's feedback on Kali and target selection, and especially like in the middle of a fight where it's really hard to like change your target because you need it back to base, or it might select someone you don't want. There was an effort to make it so that it was more accessible to select a target. But that does have its own downside path of sometimes you leap onto a target, you clip the edge of the support that is full health, and now instead of chasing down your kill target, you've completely swapped it. So we made the decision to remove that functionality. So now it is back to the traditional sense of you have your kill target. When you kill your kill target, the next closest target becomes that. You can back to base to interact to be able to select your new target.
Correct,
so instead of a targeter popping up, you have the interact functionality. And we are looking at ways to improve that, because it is something that, like, when we added that to Smite 1, it was to solve a specific problem, which is it can feel really hard to actually select a new target, but it has its own set of side problems that we need to resolve as well. So we're going to look for ways to improve that still. So going forward, we're going to continue to look at ways to do that. But just coming into Smite 2, that functionality is not there.
Yes, so correct. So for the TLDR, that Smite 1 changed to where you could change your targets by leaping on them. This is not in Smite 2.
Correct.
Yeah, and she, you know, she still has her stun. She still has.
Yep.
She's still the Kali you know and love. Not like, I guess original Kali was a little bit different.
See,
but,
that's my OG Kali. That's the one that I played way back in the day. And actually, it's kind of funny because it does harken back a little bit to that old design, because her old 3 used to be purely a siphon, and she had ways that when she hit people with her 2, she could stim her with her 1 to make her 2 bleed, to then 3 consume it. That loop was also like a little bit weird to get rolling as well, but we kind of brought that back in this version while keeping the things that people like about current Kali with the stun and just the chainsaw playstyle. Just feels really good.
And I'll say, you know, there are some people in chat who are like, why Kali? You know, why did you pick this god? And I think that the 2 key reasons are that we do not have a real auto attack jungler in the game right now.
Correct.
And we wanted to get a real auto attack focused jungler in the game. I think Nemesis can be, but she's kind of a little bit more of a mix, I would say. And, you know, Kali has also just always been an iconic character. She's been, you know, obviously she's one of the best known gods in the game.
Yeah.
A lot of people like picking her up as a first character. And she's just, you know, kind of one of those iconic Smite characters, right? Like, but I think, like, from a gameplay perspective, we felt like we needed the auto attack jungler in the game, which is why she was prioritized.
Sweet. Well, that is Kali. I'm going to keep us moving here, and while we are on the Conquest map, I'm going to mosey on over to the Fire Giant pit and see if we can find something new here. So these are the Fire Brands. This is an all-new objective on the solo side of the map. These spawn at 3 minutes, and they're a little bit on the tankier side here to kill. Let's see if I can mow them down here. It'll take a little bit, but kind of alongside the Naga camps. But this is a new objective to just add a little bit more contention to the solo side of the map. And after I killed them,
yeah, I know there's a lot of discussions around making sure that each lane felt like they had things to contest over, things that felt like it kind of brought them in towards the map versus being too external from the map. just things that gave reasons for people to actually go towards objectives to fight even earlier than, like, obviously Gold Fury exists for that, but like Gold Fury, you have to be a certain amount into the game for that really takes into effect. And so this is a nice thing on the solo side that really incentivizes the soul laners, the junglers, the mids to kind of rotate over and contest these things. And the reward for that is to get these additional fire shards, which you can pick them up normally, but this gives you a whole extra new way of doing that.
Exactly.
And just gives like something more for this side of the map to focus on that's more directly contestable.
Yeah, and the other thing that's kind of fun about the fight is that when you kill one, the other one like kind of heals.
Yeah,
So you want to try and kill them both at the same time. It's kind of fun to try and get that done. It's a little bit of a fun fight because of that.
Yep. So yeah, each one will spawn 2 of the fire shards that you can pick up that give you the stacking intelligence and strength boosts. So +2 strength, +2 intelligence per stack. So you've got the 2 that spawn normally, then you've got 2 from each of the fire imps. So you can get 6 total if you're doing these rotations on cooldown. Can really, if you're controlling these, can really towards the late game turn the tide for sure. Get you a nice little boost.
Yeah.
Something else fun on that side of the map early. And the icon that it's using is the icon that's over the camp. So.
Yeah. And then one other thing that we wanted to talk about on the solo side of the map, the Totem of Ku is getting a little bit of a change here. So the Totem of Ku, the effect no longer buffs minion waves for the person that captures the Totem of Ku. Instead, the Totem of Ku now rewards a permanent +2 cooldown rate buff per stack for the person that dealt the most damage capturing the Totem of Ku.
Yes, to the team that did the most damage capturing the Totem of Ku, yes. So, yeah, this gives the previous Totem of Ku had some interesting interactions, but it did cause some problems around minion stacking. Sometimes pushing is not actually what you want to have happen at certain points of the game. It can actually be disadvantageous. So there's a lot of complications around the Totem of Ku effect that were there before. But now it's just you fight over it, and if you were the more successful one, you get a permanent stack, and you can keep fighting over it to keep building up the stack. You can be, if you were really good at controlling Totem of Ku and the new imps, you can really come out of solo lane pretty strong.
Yeah, pretty strong. Yeah.
And it's been still fun to fight over. We have had some times in playtests where like somebody's starting it and then like somebody else is coming over to help it, and then they actually like have to stop damaging it because they want the buff to go on the other person. You know? So it does add some interesting new play structures there too.
Cool. All right. Well, I think
it's just for the person that does the most damage to it on the team that captures it. So it's not for the whole team.
All right. Well, that I think wraps it up for our Kali and Conquest change section. I'm going to bring us back to Cam's here as I exit here.
I do have one more Conquest thing. Let me find my messages here. Because I was out on Friday, we didn't get everything pulled together as much as we normally do.
No worries, no worries.
But so the one other thing that we do have coming in OB8 is a little bit of a comeback mechanism tied to objectives. So if your team is behind in team gold, then structures and neutral bosses will award your team bonus gold. And the amount of bonus gold that it gives you depends on how far behind you are, up to a maximum of 8,000 gold. And it's exponential. So if the teams are relatively close, or if there's not a lot of difference between them, you aren't going to get much bonus gold. So if your teams are like 2,000 gold apart, you might get like 4% bonus gold. But if it's a bigger lead, then it might help pull it back to where the team has just still a lead, but not like this game is unwinnable kind of lead. So the goal is to try and like keep games a little bit closer if you can take objectives as the losing team. And so you still have to do something. You don't just get this for free. But if your team can rally together and get some objectives, then you can start to turn the balance a little bit.
Cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and look at Kali's Ascension Pass, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Bringing us up here. So we've got the Shadow Skin, of course, as the buy-in reward for the Ascension Pass. Looks really cool.
Yeah, looks great.
You can get a better look also at the model now. The model changes.
Oh, yeah. I can't rotate.
If you leave and come back, you probably can.
Well, I can't leave here. One second. I'll bring it to let's see. And come back. And no, still no.
Okay.
Unfortunate.
Sorry, chat, but bringing us back here. So that is her Shadow Skin. And then her first kind of epic tracker is marked target kills. This is a good one. The amount of kills that Kali has made on marked targets after using her Marked for Death ability.
Yeah, this is like the one that like when we talked about like trackers, it's like, well, this would be the obvious one.
Obvious for sure. Then you've got your mastery emote. You've got your clap. Objectives destroyed.
Yeah,
your
you see,
goddess's
the art
tracker.
says temp because, as we said, we are
Yes.
updating that.
Yes.
This is not the final. She will have her tongue out and red eyes and reflect the model updates. Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. We've got the debilitated stacks tracker. This tracker is the number of rupture stacks that Kali has consumed when healing with incense. So
Yep.
kind of playing into that new playstyle with the rupture
Yeah,
passive.
which I need to make a note to change that because debilitated was our working title for this internally.
Okay.
It did get to update the ruptured stacks and the tracker details, but I need to go
I'll
fix
make a
that.
note for you.
Thank you.
I have 3 other notes already that I've noticed.
Nice.
during this.
Awesome.
Next up, we have got her onyx skin. Clean, tried and true, black and gold. Looks super
Yeah,
sick.
looks great.
Then you've got her opal skin. I love the look on this,
yeah.
especially the details
That's
on the
sweet.
weapons. You've got like the prismatic textures there
I
on the
always love
blades.
the opal. Like, some people are haters, but man, this is like my favorite color scheme.
They look
I
so
usually pick
sick.
this in playtests.
Yeah, they're sick. Next up, her global emote. Kilgoon said that we're reworking the card art. Global emote kind of ties into that a little bit. You
Yep.
got the red eyes there. It's tasty getting those kills. It's a really cool global emote. Travis was like, man, that's a spooky global emote in the playtest the other day when we were playing. So this one's super sick. Then you've got your wave, the destroyer title,
Ooh,
Yeah.
fitting
like that.
for Kali. You've got your god kills. Again, the card art is temp, so the mastery badge isn't quite ready yet. But we will show off the radiant skin for
Ooh.
Kali.
Yeah, this one looks really sick. I love this one a ton.
Yeah.
This is the one I'm going to be rocking
I
personally.
love how she's got that aura going, you know?
Yeah, it's good.
And then
The gold skull is also
yeah.
just like...
Oh, I didn't
Pretty
even
sick.
notice that. Yeah. Yeah, that's sick. And then the card effects I checked earlier, they're not quite done yet, but they will be wrapped up by the time we get to Open Beta 8. So
Sweet.
Yep.
that is Kali's Ascension Pass. And as chat called out, has called out many times when we're on the screen, they may have noticed the God Builder text in the top,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys have been asking for this for a long time, and it is a feature that basically there's just a ton of like back-end plumbing needed to make something like this work, because we needed to first establish the concept in our like databases of what this thing even was, and then it's like, okay, well, we have to do the work in the game to hook up with the like.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. And I understand that sometimes things can seem like they're smaller features and we should be able to get them in more quickly. But this is, it's a big arc of work. I don't want to overhype this because this is the first version of this.
Yes.
So a lot of like the UI design is still kind of work in progress.
Temporary, yeah.
But we wanted to make sure that there was a way to like create and save and share builds as soon as possible in the game. So we'll probably we will definitely continue polishing this up into OB9 to make sure that it's like prettier and has some like there's going to obviously be some bugs with this in the first iteration, but again, we'd rather get it to you, get your feedback on what's working, what's not working, what's missing, and then continue to iterate it versus being like, here guys, here's a finished
gonna
product.
hold it,
So let's
I'll bring up the
switch to show it off. Click on it first before we go back.
Oh.
We're already back. It's fine.
We're already back. Just
Yeah.
click on it.
Yeah,
You're
just click on it.
ready?
Yeah,
All right,
see?
cool.
Okay.
Boom.
Okay, so this is what we have so far. So it's pretty straightforward. You'll land on this screen, which shows your builds, and you
Yes.
don't have any builds created. So if you click to create a build, then you can make a build. And the two
Editing
things,
your build, yeah.
the two things that you have to fill out are starting items and final build.
Yep.
There's no there's no like verification on it to make sure that you have put in an actual valid build. But you do have to put both of those both of those in. And then you can also put in a skill order.
Cool.
The skill order does verify, so you can't like skill things up beyond where they could based on the level.
Yes.
And then if you click on add entry, then you can add new fields that have whatever description you want on them. The title, a description, and then a long description. You can put quite a lot of text into the long description, so you can explain to people like, hey, build Divine Ruin if you're against Aphrodite. You can get as complicated or as uncomplicated as you want. On the builds that I have made personally, I have my third section is usually buy wards, idiot, and then it's like literally it's just century wards and regular wards as a note to myself, because I frequently forget to buy wards.
Right,
It's like
yeah.
when it's right there as a thing, buy the damn wards, right?
Exactly,
It's pretty easy. So it's pretty straightforward. So if you click on one of the items,
Let's see here. We'll do the starter item first.
yeah. So it'll show you the items, and since it's the final build, you probably want to pick the tier 2 of the starter item.
Yeah.
But say, okay, we want to start with Bumbasphere.
Yep, Bumbasphere definitely what you want for Kali.
Yeah, and then you just click and you add the things, and it's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's cool.
So it doesn't take very long to set a build up once you have set up a build, or once you know what you want to do. The other thing that happens as you add things to your build, and I'm not sure this is 100% working yet, but if you go up, just pick something.
Ooh, let's see. I'm gonna go a little bit of a
First
spoil
item.
there.
Okay, so it looks like it's not updating today in depth.
Okay.
But if you go back to like basically there's the list of stats on the side.
Mm-hmm.
If you just click on a square, yeah, there you go. So that will update to show like the stats that your items are giving you.
Cool.
Yeah.
And we've been having a couple issues getting that fixed, but that should be fine by the time we go live, hopefully. The other thing, if you click on none right there,
None.
then you pick. What mode is this build
okay,
for?
nice,
Yeah.
cool.
If you click on Conquest, then you can pick which lane it's for.
Okay,
Or which and then you also can pick if this is for aspect or for non-aspect.
Okay, cool.
Which Kali does not have one, and we probably should have mentioned that on Kali.
Yes, yeah.
We have an idea that we're cooking on her for, but it wasn't ready for this.
Cool.
Yep. So it's pretty straightforward. You can add up to 3 extra rows. And yep, there you go. And then once you're done building it, you just click save at the bottom.
Okay, nice.
And
I'm just gonna build
just
a
click a
bunch
couple
of
things,
just
doesn't
random
matter.
things. Yeah, this is not the optimal build, chat. And you said I need a starting build as well,
Yes.
correct? So that's my scuffed final build.
Okay.
Starting build. We're still gonna start with this. We're gonna
And then
start.
tier 1s are at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll probably just get the attack speed or axe.
Yep.
And then if you want to put potions on there, you can. You don't have to. And that's kind of it. And then you click save.
Nice.
And then now it's saved in your list of builds.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows what game version that build was created from as well. So
That's a
you
good-
can tell
that's- yeah.
how recently this build was last updated.
Yeah.
Now, by default, when you create a build, it's just going to appear for anybody else who wants to see your build in community builds. And if you click pin to store, then the next time you go into the shop, like in game, that build will just be
In the auto
what
build
you
stuff.
see,
Okay.
not auto build.
Okay, just what
but
you
when
see.
you open the store, it'll be like the first tab you see will be that.
Okay,
Or
awesome.
else in match, you can also pick which build you want to use. You
Cool.
just can't make a build in match.
Right. Which that makes sense.
Yep.
Nice, cool.
So it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And realistically, we know that a lot of people will not be making builds. We expect that most people will just rely on the most used community builds. So if you notice, there's already another build there, which is Travis's build that he made. I probably wouldn't recommend this build either.
Always, never build, never always.
Yes.
Good.
He was just goofing around. But you can see this is just an example of another build that you can see. And if you want to use this one instead,
I could pin it to
you
store.
can pin it to store.
Yeah.
Or if you want to riff off of this build, if you click copy to, which is not working yet.
Okay, cool.
I thought it was working today. If you click copy to, then it will let you basically make a copy of that build. And you can either copy that like on this same god and make your own Kali build, or you can be like, oh, this build looks cool. I want to use this on Nemesis.
Yeah.
And then you can copy it to Nemesis.
Cool.
So there's and like the builds are going to be ranked by the number of people that have favorited them.
Cool.
So it's just the more favorites, the more that a build will be pushed to the top. And then you can sort in game based on like it'll sort in game based on like the role that you're playing and the god that you're playing, and if you have the aspect or not.
Cool.
If you want to go in game now, just go enter practice. Actually, should work fine. Then click manual build, and then open the item store, and then click on the lightning bolt first at the top. So that is your build that you made. And then if you click on whip god builder. Sorry. So that's the default build because you didn't have this. Yeah. Sorry. So now if you pick one of these and say pin this build, then
Yep,
There
it
we
is.
go. Cool.
shows you
There's
that
your build.
And then also if you did you pick how to level up your skills on this one?
I did not,
Go
no.
to Travis's then because he did. And pin build, and then if you close this, then you'll see on your skills,
there's
a little pin
yeah.
that says this is the next skill that you should level up according to this build.
Nice, cool.
So it's, I think it's pretty cool. It has a lot of new functionality compared to what we used to have, right? Again, as you can tell, still a little bit early.
Yep.
But we thought it was better to get a version of this out to you and get some feedback on what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what features are missing,
right?
And then continue to iterate from there. So
yes.
I feel like it's a really good step in the right direction. Again, not done yet, but hopefully you all are as excited for this feature as I am.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, lots of big steps. I know it was a huge arc of work from the team, so super excited to get this first iteration out to players. Players can start making their builds, saving them, taking them into game and using them, and hopefully be really successful.
Yeah, if you go to you're on something else now.
Yeah,
but yeah, like I literally, like, I was playing Kali, or not Kali. I was playing Athena jungle the other day in a playtest, and I was like, I don't really know what I should build. So I went to, because we don't have like community builds yet because we're in dev, I went to Inbound's like build sheet and I copied his build for Athena into the God Builder.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God, this is the easiest it's ever been to like play Smite and follow a build. Because I just like, I have this build that tells me what I build at the start, tells me what my final build should look like. And then I made my buy wards section at the bottom. So I was like, okay, I got my wards right here to click on. And I was like, this is great. And I don't need to think about what skill to level up. It's just push the thing.
There you go.
Some people have asked about like integration with auto level and auto build. The reason why we are requiring a starting build and the build path is because we want to integrate it with auto level and auto build, but it's not going to be in OB8. That's scheduled for OB9. So the hope is that in OB9, if you have pinned a build beforehand, it'll just auto build that build for you. So so lots of fun stuff. I'm excited about this feature. There's a lot to it. I could probably keep talking about this for a long time. We have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff to cover. We're going to get right into the next one. Kali not shipping with an aspect, but we do have another aspect coming in Open Beta 8, and that is going to be for Agni.
Yes.
Agni going to be getting a really cool aspect, so I'm just going to hover it really quick and we can talk about it before I show it off. It's going to be the aspect of combustion. So your basic attacks now ignite enemies, dealing damage over time and stacking 8 times. Flame Wave and Rain of Fire consume ignites, dealing a burst of damage. Rain of Fire deals reduced damage. So talk to me about Agni's aspect, Pon.
Yeah, so our goal is to make him more kind of like a carry role almost in a way that Agni has it before. His passive always kind of wants you to basic attack a little bit, and it's good to do the basic attack and use it for the dot that happens over time, but we wanted to lean into that even more with this aspect. So now this dot, I believe, scales with strength as well.
Oh, wow, nice.
So you can build a ton of attack speed, a ton of strength, stack this up really quickly on top of a target, get this dot ticking, and then consume it all with Flame Wave to do this big burst of damage on your target. And it just gives him a completely different way of playing him, a completely different build path. And you can especially do some really cool stuff with just like, because you want to get these stacks really, really fast, you can either maximize attack speed to just really rapidly apply these, or you can just try and build a whole bunch of power and then deal with the slow auto attacks, but you get the huge payoff if you actually land it all. So
I was getting blown up by this in playtest today.
Pretty good.
But then I did like one-shot Rowled him to kill him in response.
Yes.
I just imagine like a bunch of attack speed and cooldown rate. That way I'm just like firing basics super fast, and I have my either Flame Wave or bombs on super short cooldown just to consume those stacks. It's super cool.
Yeah, it is really fun. And this will be going live not on patch day, but 1 week later on the following Monday, just like we've been following for other aspects.
Also, this is just a small shout out of I love the flexibility we have on the design team right now, where like that extra bar underneath the character to indicate like this, like that's something that we can set up and hook up and
that's
get
super
going.
Sick,
and for like these features where it's like traditionally that would have been like, well, how are we going to ever display these stacks to the target to make this make sense? That we have a place that's dedicated for that now. So it's just a nice, cool thing that lets us be more flexible in how we approach characters and how we approach aspects. Just a fun call out.
Yeah, that's sick. So Agni's aspect, again, coming in Open Beta 8, the players can look forward to. And gosh, what's next on my list? I have so much to go over.
Shall
we start talking about new items?
Yes, we probably should.
As we start talking about,
do you want to do the whole thing, or you just want to start with new items?
We'll do the full spiel.
Okay. Cool.
So OB7 was kind of this reset for the base strength of items to make sure that we had room to grow. It addressed a few specific balance problems. I think as people have played out though this patch, we've seen that the game largely feels pretty good. We've had to address a few still bruiser items that were overperforming, but I think the game feels like it's in a pretty good spot. And our goal now is to make items feel more specialized. So the goal there is, if every single game you build the exact same way, that probably means our items aren't fulfilling the goal of what items really should in a MOBA, which is they are answers and they are puzzle pieces that you put together.
Yeah.
Your opponent's giving you problems to solve. You're using the puzzle pieces you have to solve problems against that. And if you're building the same way, no matter what happens, that puzzle interaction really isn't happening. And that's where a lot of the depth of MOBA comes from. So our goal here is to make that more pronounced. So an example, and I'll use this as an example item, is chin size. Chin size has always been it does percent health damage, and because it does percent health damage, it's good against tanks and people who build health, but it also does enough damage to also be good against squishies, and so therefore it's always meta, or it's never meta,
right?
Because you're either always building it or you're never building it.
Yep.
And you've seen us try and play this, like the balance with it in Smite 2, where we've tried things like, well, now it does a little extra bonus maximum health damage based off the difference in health to try and push us more, but it just wasn't. If we're going to have just chin size be there, and it's going to be this one item that's a anchor point for all on-hit builds, it kind of needs to be generically good, which means we can't specialize it. So chin size is now going to be specialized.
Yes.
If you are building this in a situation where it is not the game for it, you are going to lose that game probably. And like I did, because I got to
That was a funny game. You were so ahead.
I was really, really ahead. I didn't realize we'd actually implemented it yet. So I built chins, and I was like, oh, literally no one on the enemy team has built health.
Right.
And this item is not good for that. And I immediately regretted that decision. So chin size is moving to be the anti-health item.
Yeah.
Now, that would leave a gap for on-hit builds. We are addressing that by making a new item that has a flat amount of damage, that's good against squishies. This is the one that you're going to build that's more generically good, but it's not going to be anti-tank.
Yes.
And that's the one, so like that's when we talk about specialization. Some items are just going to be stat shifted around, their passes are going to be made stronger, their base stats are going to be made stronger or weaker depending on what we need to do to make it so that when you're building this item, you're building it for a very dedicated purpose. Cool. In other cases where we've shifted them and there's now a gap, we're looking to fill that gap with a new item to make it so that those build paths still make sense. And we are going to continue this in OB9. OB8 has a lot of this. OB9 will have more of it. There's still some things we want to do around pen. There's still going to be gaps in itemization. I know there's a lot of discussion about mages and their strength and how it relates to them. There's still more work to be done, but this is this is again the stepping stone of OB7 to OB8 to OB9. This will be a bulk of a lot of items being shifted this way.
Yeah, cool. And once again, our playtests, I think, are feeling better every day. I think that this has been a really good movement for the game overall.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm in game. I wanted to show off the 3 new items in game. That way we can show off the icons. And then we've got a big sheet to talk about all the other stuff that's kind of like impromptu patch notes for items here. So I'm going to bring back up the laptop, and let's talk about Ancient Signet first. Going to be our first new item here. And I'm going to hide cameras here. Ancient Signet, 2,600 gold, 75 int, 200 max mana, passive. Enemy gods hit by your abilities take 20 plus 10 per level bonus magical damage. This can only occur once every 20 seconds. This cooldown is reduced by 2 seconds for every minion kill or assist. So, Pon, talk to me about where this item is going in.
So, if you were playing a kind of a low cooldown mage that wants to poke constantly, you're looking at Soul Gem and Soul Reaver. Soul Reaver is being transitioned to that more anti-tank role, because that's, again, another item like Chins. So this is kind of the replacement for the low cooldown mage who just wants to constantly poke and harass and do base damage. Yes. So if you are building, like, eventually once we have Habwa, right?
Yep.
Habwa is an example of this. Every 2 seconds you can be hitting with your 1, and if you clear the wave, you can hit with your 1 again. The goal here is to make it so that those types of characters have a item that they can build. And then obviously the interaction of you can poke with an ability first, clear your whole minion wave, and then poke again. Add some lane dynamics that we think is good here. So this is just a generically good intellect item that does good damage when you're trying to fight your opponents, that has a little mini game for you to play to try and optimize that damage more. Yeah. And it serves as a nice replacement for what traditionally Soul Reaver had fulfilled in this role.
Cool. All right, next up, one of my favorite items from Smite 1. Let's talk about Rage.
Yeah, so Rage. So Rage gives us a way to give a lot of critical strike to enable critical strike builds. One thing that's always that we only had basically Deathbringer, Musashi's, and Demon Blade. So those items had to give you enough crit and enough stats on their own as a bucket to make sense.
Right.
But having Rage be this thing that you build into to really dedicate a whole bunch of crit towards makes it you build towards those items.
Clumsy is in chat saying the stats are incorrect right now.
Oh,
so.
yes.
Okay.
I was thinking that I didn't. So I'm coming back from vacation. So I was like, maybe they did shift the item stats around, but the passive there is the main thing we were looking at, which is this stacking critical strike chance that really enables you to, when you get Deathbringer, if you're going Rage, your build path is really locked in. It's really determined. People know you're going to be going this route, and you get the payoff for it if you can actually get the stacking effect. Rage, people really love from Smite 1. It just really rounds out crit builds really nicely, and when you do actually get it fully stacked, it just feels really good.
Cool. And then the last one on my list, kind of akin to what you were talking about earlier, Tearfing.
Yes.
It's going to be a new item, and this is going to be kind of the other side of Chins, right? Filling that gap.
Yeah, so Tearfing, a lot of strength, very low attack speed, and a passive that does bonus physical damage each time you hit that has a unique way of getting stronger as the game goes on, where as you hit, you get more stacks, and as you level, the stat count can get higher. So this is essentially the way for if you just want an on-hit thing that is more reliable, that isn't really locked to a character's like health pool. This is going to be really good for you, and it has a unique scaling mechanic that's different. And importantly, it doesn't give attack speed on its own, right? In the same way that we looked at the other item, the Ancient Signet, this doesn't, and Rage, right? Rage doesn't give that much strength on its own, but it gives a ton of crit.
Yes.
This gives a pretty good passive proc and strength, but it doesn't give attack speed. You're going to have to get that attack speed somewhere else. So that's also what we're doing in the Specialization Pass, where if this item could have 30 strength, 30 attack speed, and this proc, and then it's a one item you pick up.
One-stop shop.
One-stop shop. The build puzzle isn't there. So with low attack speed, I think the build puzzle becomes more interesting with this item.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to bring us back to Cam. So those are the 3 new items coming to Smite 2 in the next update. But a lot of other items got some changes and shifts that, give me a second, I will bring up the patch notes document, and we'll go through them as quick as we can.
Okay.
So Bancroft's Talon up first. So the passive lifesteal has been increased from 10% to 20% health floor.
Yep. This is the premier lifesteal item. It really should be good at lifesteal, and so it's good at lifesteal.
Yeah. All right. Berserker Shield, an interesting one up next. Going to be getting a reworked passive as well as a recipe change and decreasing the attack speed. So the new passive is while below 60% health, you become Berserk for 8 seconds. While Berserk, you gain 50% protections from items and 25% attack speed. So, and it can only occur once per 8 seconds.
Yeah, so it has also a lot of the other stuff there, like recipe changes and health regen. That's often a consequence of having to shift things around. But the goal here is that Berserker's Shield always had a weird spot where if the passive was like just provided a base amount, it was either too good for carries because then they could actually pick it up and just be too tanky baseline. Now, if you actually build into its effect where you get a whole bunch of protections from items, this Berserk state becomes really a lot more threatening. And that's it. So the use case that it previously had before is different, but the payoff for this is potentially so much higher. And the fact that you can become this giant wall by berserking late game with this item is now just a very different and interesting place for it to be now.
Yeah. All right, Bloodbound book up next. So we have removed the health, changed the recipe, increased the lifesteal, and the active effect, the HP shield scaling has been increased. The cooldown reduction has been decreased, but the cooldown of the active effect has been reduced from 140 seconds to 80 seconds. So that's a big one.
Yep, our goal is if this is the active you get to shield yourself, that shield effect should be good and more readily available to you. It was kind of it had a little bit of stigma from the early days of Smite 2, where we were still looking at the relic and active system as a whole, and this was a kind of everyone built this to be defensive. Now it's not really the case anymore, so we can bring its power level back pretty safely.
All right, similar to Bloodforge, kind of the strength version of the item. So same thing, right?
Yeah, same thing.
All right, Book of Thoth. The item now provides 20 intelligence and 100 mana on evolution instead of the penetration.
Yep, and you'll see a few of these types of changes too, where a lot of the stacking items got penetration as a final reward. Again, we are doing a more thorough penetration pass as a whole, but we think these these stats are going to be pretty comparable because they, especially with Book of Thoth right here, the extra 20 intelligence and the 100 mana plays into its own passive really well. And so we want to make sure that those items, when they evolve, the thing that you bought them for is the thing that you're getting, not the potential just extra 5%, 10% penetration that was just on the evolution reward.
Bracer of the Abyss, increase the passive max stacks from 6 to 8.
Yep. If you can get these stacks going, the payoff should be higher. Again, that's kind of what we're talking about with this pass is you could make this a 2-stack item that is generically good and you get the 2 stacks very quickly, so you're basically at full power instantaneously. Or this could stack to 8 stacks and you could have a really, really big payoff for it.
Yep. Up next, Cersei's Hexstone, going to be decreasing the max health, decreasing the cooldown, and the damage from the active effect now deals 10% of your current HP as damage instead of the enemy's.
Yes, which means that if you are going a whole bunch of health, you now actually have an offensive use for that health, which is just an interesting... the previous one didn't have as much interaction as this one does.
Dagger of Frenzy up next, decrease the recipe cost, decrease the strength from 50 to 35, but the passive buff changed from 30% attack speed for 5 basic attacks to 50% attack speed for 6 basic attacks.
Yep, you build it for the active effect. The active effect should be really, really strong. I popped it and I was through my 6 stacks like before I even knew it. It's really fast now. Really good for especially the Tierfing.
Deathbringer help supplement that crit from rage. We're going to be decreasing the strength, decreasing the crit strike chance a little bit, but increasing the passive critical strike damage from 25 to 35%.
Yeah, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with crit, where they all had to, there were so few of them, they all had to be generically good enough to be the complete package on their own. Rage existing means that we can actually take critical strike chance away from that and make the actual payoff for buying Deathbringer, investing in that cost a lot more worthwhile.
All right, Death Metal, another crit item, decrease the critical strike chance, and the active effect has been reworked. Remove the strength and intelligence from the aura effect. This item now provides 15% crit strike chance in an aura, and increase the attack speed from 20 to 25%.
Yeah, letting your teammates crit is really unique.
Yeah,
and I think that's where this item's going to have a lot more fun. Like maybe you can now actually your Ymir doesn't actually have to build.
Oh yeah, it's true.
And you can actually buy this for your Ymir as well as yourself if you're going crit focused.
Cool. Nice. Demon Blade up next, going to be decreasing the crit strike chance, increasing the attack speed, the passive attack speed buff, and decreasing the buff duration from 4 to 3 seconds.
Yep, so payoff's higher for the actually getting the passive trigger, but you have to be more active about maintaining it.
Devil's Gauntlet, kind of similar to the Book of Thoth change. It's now going to provide 5 strength and 7% lifesteal on the evolution instead of the penetration.
Yep. You buy it for sustain, it makes it better at sustain.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the commentary on these is going to be similar, right? Because it's like, we're making it do the thing it was meant to do better, and we're removing the other stuff.
Yeah, it's when it comes to balancing items, it can be often really easy to be like, well, this item would just be better if we gave it 5% attack speed here, 10% attack speed here. And after a few years of doing that, a lot of items become very similar.
Yeah.
So this is a very deliberate attempt, especially after we were going really, really, really fast on bringing new items to the game, doing really rapid balance patches, bringing gods to the game. This is our chance to really cement, like, this is where we feel item diversity should be, how you should approach item buying. And when you go to build an item, you shouldn't be like, well, I bought this one item and I kind of generically got 6 different stats that were all good. I built this thing and I'm really good at this thing, but I have holes in my build I now need to figure out how to fill.
Yeah. Eros' bow is next on the list. Increase the healing per basic attack and decrease the ally max mark range from 26 to 20 meters.
Yep, you have to stay closer to your target. It was actually kind of hard sometimes because like you could be really, really far away from your target and not even realize that you're getting healed. That just means it's closer, but the payoff's a lot higher.
Eye of the Storm up next. Changing that recipe, removing the physical protection, increasing the magical protection, and increasing the health.
Yep, this just makes it more focused in what it's doing. It makes it a more clear magical item.
Genji's Guard, going to be decreasing the cooldown from 30 seconds to 20 seconds.
Yep, more focused passive.
Helm of Radiance, kind of the same thing, increasing the passive max stacks from 4 to 6.
Yep, if you can survive long enough to get those stacks, you're going to be really tanky.
And then Hide of the Nemean Lion, the passive effect from this item has been removed. The active reflect effect has been increased from 30% for 3 seconds to 40% for 4 seconds, and decreased the cooldown of the active.
Yep. It created a weird. Hydrodemian's always had a weird balance problem where when it's too good, it feels like it stagnates ADCs too hard. And also the counterplay of just taking damage passively is always really weird. Making an active effect just makes that way healthier because now they have to try and time it, and you can react to that and know that that window is going to close. And because of that, we just think we're going to go all in on that and make it so that if you decide to continue attacking that person, you better be really confident in your sustain or that they're going to fall over before you do.
Yes. Jade Scepter, the active effect no longer debuffs enemy strength and intelligence, but the cooldown has been decreased by 20 seconds.
Yep.
You buy it to silence people, so now you silence people more often, and it doesn't do other things.
Well, this one's a knockback.
Oh, it's a knockback. I'm sorry.
But yeah, it doesn't do the other things, which just makes more sense. You buy it to knockback. By the way, really good Cuckoo. You can knock someone back into your ult really easily. Just a little tech.
Yep. And into your Whirlwind as well. Lernian Bow, the active effect has changed from firing a single arrow to firing 3 arrows, each at a slight delay, that now deals 60% of your basic attack damage each. All the other effects remain unchanged.
Yeah, the single projectile flying forward, we just also thought we have that in a few places. We want to try something a bit more interesting. This actually lets you re-aim it as you're firing it. So if you're familiar with like Circuit 2 is a good example of this tech where you can kind of re-aim and hit multiple targets, especially as a kind of anti-heal effect, like making it so you can spread it around also gives it more applications. I think it just makes the item more interesting.
Yeah. Leviathan's Hide up next. No longer stacks twice, but instead has a new effect. Enemies who hit you with a basic attack lose 10% strength for 4 seconds, and you gain 1 max health permanently.
Yes. So if you are against a team of a whole bunch of people who's going to hit you a ton, you might want to just rush this item because it's actually going to be really, really good.
Nimble Ring, the passive intelligence conversion has been increased, and from 2 basic attacks damage and 2% attack speed for every 30 intelligence to 1 basic attack damage and 1% attack speed for every 10 intelligence.
Yeah, this is functionally a 50% buff, and it's also easier to parse the math when it's in ones and tens.
Pendulum Blade, another fun item, decreasing the recipe cost, the strength, and the ability cooldown from the ability cooldown reduction from 3 to 4 seconds, but decreasing the cooldown of the active effect.
Yes, so the increased ability cooldown reduction from 3 seconds to 4 seconds. So now if you want to, especially if you're a high cooldown build and you want to like Thanatos 1 into a Pendulum Thanatos 1, it's going to be a lot more reliable actually getting you to that cooldown threshold breakpoint.
Kin's Blade, we talked about it a little bit, but talk to me, Pon, about what's going on with Kin's and how we're kind of shifting it.
Yeah, so now it is purely based off the difference of your maximum health and the target that you're fighting. So if you're lower level, if you've built squishy, if they've built tanky, if they're ahead, those are going to be the things now that matter for chin size. If the difference isn't there at all, and this is a difference only in the positive sense. So if I have 5,000 health and they have 2,000, I don't get to benefit from that difference.
Correct. Yeah.
It's only the other way around. Now I'm very good at dealing with very high health targets. It has a specific role, a specific purpose, and when you do need this item, it's going to be really, really powerful, and it's gonna. And previously, like if they were that tanky and they were stalling you, the previous shin size was good, but it really didn't feel like it was that strong of a counter. Now this is going to feel like a very, very potent counter.
Yeah. Serrated Edge, just clarified the description that this item stacks up to 3 times.
Yep.
Simple change. Soul Gem, going to be reducing the recipe cost, decreasing the int, increasing the passive bonus damage, and increasing the passive healing.
Yep. We wanted you to play around the passive trigger of this effect. We want that to be the strong thing about the item. It having as much intelligence meant that it was also just generically good, which is why, especially Soul Gem often was in tons of mage builds because it was just generically good as well as having a good effect. Now I have to play around the passive.
Yeah.
That big raw ult I hit today.
Soul Gem.
Hell yeah.
Soul Reaver up next, similar to Chin's Blade, going to be the intelligence / magical version of this item.
Yes, and I think this one still maintains some of its intelligence scaling as well because mages have different considerations from this is essentially their way of making attack speed scaling work in the way that chin size it scales with attack speed. This gives it some capacity to also scale.
Cool. Spirit Robe, when the passive triggers, you now also restore 6% of your max health over the next 6 seconds.
And you can tell that we also want to play a little bit more with health with the Cersei is getting the current health. We want to give you more opportunities to go high health builds and have payoffs for that.
Next up, Stone of Binding, going to be decreasing the recipe cost, the physical protection, and magical protections, but reworking the passive. So the new passive is enemy gods hit by your hard CC effects lose 5 physical protections and 5 magical protections for 4 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. If you have 150 more protections from items, apply 2 stacks at a time.
Woo. Yes. So this is if you want as a tank to support your team and apply a ton of flat pen, get a whole bunch of protection items first and then build this, and you can really reduce their armor and their protections.
Transcendence up next, going to be providing 15 strength and 100 mana on evolution instead of the penetration,
same as
like
Book of
Thoth and Devourer's Gauntlet. And then last on our items list, Typhon's Fang, going to be increasing the passive healing from Lifesteal as well as the intelligence from Lifesteal multiplier.
Yep. Again, this item is so this is what we would call like Deathbringer's this, Rod of Tahuti is this. These are like the cornerstone items where if you are going a particular build path, this is the payoff for that build path. Typhon's Fang, this is the payoff for the Lifesteal build path. So we want to make sure that feels really good.
Cool. All right. Well, that was it for the item specialization pass. A lot in the update to kind of go through. I already hear the theory crafters kind of going back to the drawing board and kind of figuring out builds and stuff. But I'm super excited to see how things shake out whenever this goes live.
Yeah, I think it's gonna create some interesting build challenges. I was actually really nervous about the God Builder feature because I was like, if that doesn't come with this patch, communicating out all the changes like this, it's the timing of this is just really nice where people can really theory craft a whole bunch of things. The chin size is a perfect example of an item that would go in like an extra section that's like hey, if you're dealing with a whole bunch of high health targets, you might want to buy this because this is going to be the thing that helps you be more effective against them. And this also isn't us done yet, right? Like we know that we have a few more things we want to do. We know that like we preempted saying that we're probably going to go into OB9 with this. And I think now that we know what is going into OB8, yes, we have more to do in OB9. There's more things we want to address. There's some that I don't think we got a chance to talk on here because we weren't sure about where they would fall for OB8. Like we have there's an anti-heal thing that we're trying in OB8 as well. So there's things that will probably pop up as we continue talking about this week. And as we go into OB9, there's more things we want to tackle. And OB9 is also a really good opportunity for any other miscellaneous things or things that come out of this balance pass where, for example, let's say there's a build path that we missed or if for example, maybe our changed with crit items, maybe crit actually doesn't feel good now because we've actually taken way too much here. We might need to make the payoff for some of these items better, right? That's the kind of stuff that we're going to be looking at in OB9.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, we talked about a lot of balance and a lot of upcoming stuff. Let's talk about some of the skins and content coming to this update, right?
Let's do it. And we're definitely going to run past you.
Yeah,
we have a lot of stuff still to go through. So I think first up, we're going to look at our one cross-gen skin coming in the update.
I will bring it up here. We have got Cosmic Conjurer Merlin and Kilgoon. There's what's this little thing here?
So UI still is going to do a pass on that, but one of the things that we've been missing is the ability to push a button and hear what a skin sounds like. I guess we don't have audio on.
I think they have audio, but we don't have audio, so I think we're good.
I
hope that was the correct audio.
Right, yeah.
So voice pack button, you can hear that now. Obviously, you can go into practice and hear them, but we got feedback that people wanted to just be able to click a button and hear a few voice lines. It was easy to get in, so we got that in. And I think the skin looks great.
Gosh, it looks so good in Smite 2.
The materials are just insane.
Oh my god, the cape.
It's so good. Man, that's so dope.
If you own this in Smite 1, you will get it in Smite 2. And if you don't, please log into Smite 1 and you will probably get it in Smite 2. And if not, you'll be able to buy it. It'll be available for direct purchase. And it might be in a chest too. I don't know. But you can buy it. You can use your legacy gems on it for half the price.
Yeah.
It's a cool skin. You should pick it up if you like Merlin.
Cool. I'm going to bring us back to camps because we are in dev, and I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to get in trouble. So next up, let's talk about classic skins come in.
Yeah.
I know this is a fan favorite.
Yes.
Duke Dandelion's on her.
Yes. Rar.
A monument to his opulence, you know?
Everybody loves the gentleman skins. This is a good one. And we thought it would be a fun classic skin to bring over.
This one is sick.
What you would expect it to be. There's nothing changed about it. It's just the classic on her Duke Dandelion skin, and you can get it with just classic or just legacy gems.
Correct.
Available for direct purchase or in the classic skin chest.
Yeah, cool. All right, I'm going to bring us back to cams, and we've got another classic skin coming that I'm super excited about.
I am also excited about this one.
We have got Kukulkan. Let me get to it really quick. Load out. Boom.
Oh, yes.
It's a good one.
Voidworm,
Hell yeah.
Kukulkan,
Yeah.
coming into Smite 2 as a classic skin, and he's
With
got some
prisms?
prisms alongside him, right?
He does. So people have been liking the prisms that we've been doing. As people can see, we keep trying different pricing for him because we're just trying to figure out like what makes sense and is fair to everybody and everybody's happy with. So I can't tell you what the prisms are going to cost on the skin because we haven't priced it yet.
Right, cool.
But
One thing I will call out, we've talked about it on the show. A couple people have asked, this is a limited skin in Smite 1, but we talked about it a lot, and we aren't super opposed to bringing over limited skins in Smite 2 as classic skins that you can pick up with 100% Legacy Gems. So I will click over, and we can look at the prisms because they look super sick.
Yeah.
Don't have names quite yet, but this is my favorite.
They do have names, they're just not in.
Just
in
not
depth.
in,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, so there's this cool looking white one.
This is my favorite
And
by far.
Art really likes the like the stripes on the wings, like the I don't know what you call them, but like the stripes on the wings they thought were really cool. And he's kind of got like almost like frost color tips.
Yeah, that's
Frosted tips. It's like the 90s all over again.
Next up, we got another one that's like more purple and green.
Yeah.
With the black hits. This one looks great. And then another one, gold and blue.
Yeah, this one was my favorite. I thought this was just sick. And it's like, and his tail, if you look at it from behind, the tail almost looks like it's on fire.
Oh,
like
yeah,
it's
that's
got, like
sick.
This really cool, like glowing, moving thing going on.
Yeah, that's just cool.
Yeah, I think that these turned out really well. I think that they again are showing like what we can do with the prism system.
Yep.
So just like before, if you want the classic skin, you can get with just Legacy Gems, either direct purchase or in the chest. And then the prisms will be available for diamonds, and we don't have pricing for them yet because we haven't priced it.
Yep. And then again, the prisms will change the color of the VFX. Not quite done in this build, so we can't really show them off, but did want to call that out as something that you can look forward to as you pick up those prisms. Next up, we've got an all-new skin.
Yeah, one all-new skin in this update. And this skin, I believe, will also have prisms, but they aren't done yet. So no prisms to show off today, and if they are done later, we'll show you. Yeah, this Carnival Kiss Pele. So again, another one of our kind of like spooky clown skins.
Yeah,
These
I think
have always done
Izanami
well.
has a skin like this in Smite 1.
Yeah, I think there's maybe 2 or 3 in Smite 1. So this people that like this skin really like this skin.
Yeah.
This skin has a really cool AO1 effects in game. I don't know if
let's just go in.
Yeah, let's see if it works. I saw the work in progress, but it might not be in dev.
Set me level 20. Get my abilities really quick. Uh-oh, what did I do?
So if because you're in a dev client, so the hotkeys F1 are actually enable debug views.
That's what it was. All right, cool. There we go.
Yeah. Isn't that cool? That little clown.
Oh my gosh.
Shooting the projectiles back.
Chuck was very excited about that.
That's sick. And we don't have audio, but I know this has some cool, like creepy carnival music whenever you're going around. I'm not sure if chat could hear it as well, but it's creepy. You got some nice purpley VFX.
Yeah, looks good. But yeah, that clown, Chuck was just like, you have to show this clown. It looks so good.
So yeah, that is Carnival Kiss Pele.
I can literally hear that in chat.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at impressions, but I hear people in my head, so I'm glad it came across. So I think cool skin going to be available direct purchase or in a new chest.
Yeah.
And probably priced the same as other direct purchase skins and chests. I don't have the pricing off the top of my head.
Sweet.
The audio is really good, chat says. So they can hear it.
Nice. You can hear it. Nice.
Somebody else said Juggalos rise up. This is not a Juggalos. Come on, guys. That's pretty funny, though. I like that. That's a good comment.
Funny. Sweet. Next up on my list, Kilgoon. Do you want to talk about quips?
Yeah. Okay. So this is a fun thing. I think it's a fun thing.
Is this what I was hearing in the
This
playtest
is what you're hearing in the playtest
Okay.
today. So we've added a new feature called quips. So if it's going to be available in the supporter store.
Yeah.
It's going to be not as expensive as the name colors. Don't worry. We don't have the final price yet. I will figure that out probably tomorrow, and we'll let you know what the price is. But this new feature will let you equip up to 4 voice lines or sound effects. I guess the best way to think of it. Some of them are voice lines, some are sound effects that you can just play kind of like a VGS. Or kind of like a VXG, right?
Yeah.
VXE, whatever. It's kind of like a global emote. It might not work in.
Do you know what
practice.
the
It's
VXQ
one? Yeah.
I don't know if Chad, if you can hear that.
Did you equip any?
I did equip some.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to be able to play just kind of sound effects to react to the things that are going on around you, or to walk by and randomly let out a little fart sound as you run by people.
We were stalling around Fire Giant, and the Bologna was definitely making it known that the stall was not acceptable.
Okay, wait. Chat says we're talking over it, so hold on. I will play a couple. It's hard because we don't have audio. All right, cool. Hopefully y'all heard that.
Yeah. So
I forgot which ones I equipped, so I'm not sure which ones were fun.
Yeah, let me see if I can look.
Oh, I got I had the duck one. Yeah.
You had the duck one. The duck one's good.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the list because they're pretty good. There's going to be 8 sound effects in the first pack. I believe it does work during combat.
Mm-hmm.
If you mute somebody, you will also mute their quips if they're annoying you.
Yep.
Or if you turn down like character volume, I think it will also turn off their quips. But it's been good so far in our playtesting. It's been a lot of fun. I gotta find the list. Give me 1 second here.
Cool. No worries.
And I think it's a cool feature. This is the first kind of pack that we're going to do of these. We already are starting to think about like other sound effect packs that would be fun to buy and be able to, just make sounds during the thing.
Yeah.
So, oh no, I think my Slack is just not going to cooperate here.
No worries. They should hopefully be in the flash test tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
I know there's like a sad trombone. There's there's the aye. There's there's the fart sound. There's
a duck. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a duck. They're pretty good. I think it's fun. So
sweet.
It's a cool feature.
Yeah, cool feature. Speaking of other new features, we do have a couple things that we wanted to talk about.
We do have some other things.
A big one is some deserter rules.
Yes. Okay. So one of the things that we think is annoying about Smite 2 and Smite in general is if somebody leaves on your team and they're never coming back.
Yeah.
And 2 people in your team refuse to accept that you're not going to win and hold you hostage, voting no to surrenders over and over and over. So we're going to make a change to where if somebody has been disconnected for 5 minutes, which is a pretty long time, somebody's been disconnected for 5 minutes, a message will appear on screen saying, you can leave this match and you won't get deserter.
Yeah.
However, if your team loses, you're still going to take an L on your record. If your team manages to win, you will get a win on your record, right? But it will not be held against you. Like you won't be prevented from getting into another game if you're like, we lost, it's over, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 5 minutes after somebody has disconnected, you are allowed to leave if you want to, but if you lose, you will lose.
Yes.
So if your team still feels like they're in it and they can win, cool, right? There have been games where it's 4 versus 5 where we would have stayed in it and we might have come close to winning at least. There's other times where it's like my team is blind and they cannot understand that we have no chance, right? And those are the games this is meant to prevent.
Yes.
It's meant to, like, I'm stuck for 20 minutes in a game that I am 100% sure we're going to lose. That's what it will prevent from happening. So the other thing that will change as part of this is that if that person does come back after 5 minutes and tries to reconnect, they will not be able to reconnect to the game. And if you leave, you will not be able to reconnect to the game.
Yep.
So that's the other change that goes hand in hand with that.
Yep.
So I think it's a good feature. I think it's going to make bad games feel better because it's like, oh well, it's an L, move on.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not just like, oh my god, I'm stuck forever.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. I have something about the dry fire sound.
Yeah.
Being
So
updated.
this is probably going to be in for OB8.
Cool.
Kellen may yell at me, and it's not actually. But we noticed a lot during playtests that sometimes you can't hear the like I can't cast this ability sound because the tone of it isn't like the right sound to be able to hear I am failing to fire.
Yeah.
So this is a before and an after of what the current plan to change the sound is. I think it's going to be an OB8. It might not, but I just wanted to say that we're aware of this issue and we're fixing it. Even if this isn't exactly an OB8, we can take a listen to it.
Yeah, cool. I need to go back to the laptop, and I will play this really quick.
So we can't hear that.
Yeah,
but
we
hopefully,
can't.
you guys could, and hopefully it's a lot clearer.
That'd be really funny if that was also silent for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first one was the original. The second one was the new sound.
Yeah.
Kellen
Yes.
is in chat. So thank you, Kellen.
Nice.
And then, I'm not recording a voice memo. And then I feel like, yeah.
Cool.
That's all I have on that one.
That was all I had for OB8. A big one that we wanted to talk about is tomorrow.
Yes. Okay. So last week we ran a test of our new movement code in Flash Test.
Mm-hmm.
This went pretty darn well. We are not seeing any major issues at this point that we think would prevent us from pushing this new movement system live. So we're going to push it live tomorrow. So in live, there will be an update tomorrow to use the new movement code that we've been talking about for a while. Please, let us know how it feels. If we run into some things we weren't expecting, we can always wind it back. But our goal is to move to this new movement system permanently because we think it is just a better thing for the game. And there may be a couple edge cases that we haven't found yet in all of our testing, and we want to hear about those, but we probably aren't going to find them at this point until we just push the thing live.
Exactly. Yeah.
So tomorrow, the movement test is going live sometime, and please check it out. The other thing that we will have more of an update on later this week.
Yes.
Max will be on to talk about matchmaking and the plans for OB8, 9, and 10. I will say, we very soon should be doing some things to help the top percentage of ranked players that are the ones who are having the worst experience right now. So hopefully very, very soon we will be doing some things about that, and Max will be on to talk about that. So I know that there's a lot of feelings about that. We just wanted to give a quick update that we haven't forgotten about matchmaking as part of everything else we're working on. There just was a little bit of tech work that had to get done, and then some implementation work. So very soon we'll have things hopefully better, and Max will be on to talk about it hopefully this week. So
Sweet. Sounds good.
I'm looking at my notes. Do I have anything else? I don't think I have anything else.
I've gone through everything on my big sticky note with everything.
I think that's everything that I was set to talk about as well. I think.
Sweet. Well, we are past 2:00, about 5 minutes or so.
That was pretty good, though. I thought we were going to
I know,
Yeah,
right?
I
Yeah.
got
Hey,
way
we did
over.
good on times. Kilgoon, Pon,
Okay.
Thanks so much for joining. Oh, you got something else? Yeah.
Recap. Okay, so we talked about Kali, New God. We talked about the new Firebrand camp in Conquest, plus the reworked Totem of Ku. We talked about the kind of like objective bounty-like system where you can come back if you're really far behind and take objectives. We talked about Kali's Ascension Pass. We talked about the God Builder function, which is huge. We talked about Agni's aspect. We showed 3 new items, the Ancient Signet, Rage, and Tierfing. We talked about the Item Specialization Pass and covered changes to how many items?
I mean, it's got to be like 30 plus.
Yeah, probably 30 plus items. We showed off the Merlin cross-gen skin, the On Her classic skin, the Cuckoo classic skin, prisms, and the new Pele skin, which I think is going to have prisms, but I'm not 100% sure. We showed off quips. We talked about the deserter rule change. We talked about the movement test going live tomorrow, and we talked about matchmaking.
Yes.
That's a lot of stuff, guys. 2 weeks.
A lot of stuff in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So we're pushing hard to continue to make the game better. A lot to look forward to in OB8, and we're just we're gonna keep on grinding. We're keep making this game better.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about God balance, which there is going to be some in OB8.
Yep.
We'll probably go over that on Wednesday or Friday show.
And I should mention, because a lot of our focus was on items, the God balance is a bit lighter. We did ship some earlier. We had some hot fixes over last week. That doesn't mean there won't be any, but it's expected to be a little bit lighter.
Chat doesn't know what the movement system is. They missed that episode.
Oh, yeah,
I'll
let's
give
talk
the quick TLDR. Okay, so basically, a lot of the micro stutters that you feel right now in Smite in live are basically like the game, like the server and your client disagree slightly about where you are, and you're getting very subtly corrected with your position, and it feels bad. We have a new system that the best way to think about it is kind of like rollback netcode. It's not exactly, but the server and your client both know when you start a movement, and then they stay more in sync. So like we showed a video maybe a few weeks back of like when you AMA ult, a lot of times you get like hitches at different points in the ult. Now it's just 100% smooth going through it. So any movement ability that you do should just feel a lot smoother. Anytime you like bump into minions and into other gods, it should feel a lot smoother. It only affects movement and movement abilities, so it's not going to affect using abilities or anything like that, unless it's a movement ability. But we think it should just make the game feel more responsive and smoother overall. There may be some edge cases that we still need to work out, but we think it's just a step forward for the game at its current level. So.
And someone mentioned, just asking, Aladdin AO3. No, that's a different problem. Bari's bells are not related to that. Yemoja AO1 target, that would be a movement that could be part of this. And Agni's 4 target, which is the self slowdown, I believe. That would be part of this. That kind of like dynamic movement scaling as you fire the ability would be part of this. Just as an example of someone posed 4 different situations, which ones apply.
Yeah. So anything involving movement or slowdown or, that's another one. It's like whenever you stampede, there's usually like a hitch because the server and your client don't understand the rapid change in speed, and that should feel better. So there's just a lot of little things.
Yeah, so make sure you're hopping in live tomorrow and testing out all that movement stuff. Hop in. Hopefully we'll have a PTS flash test for Open Beta 8. You can try out Kali
tomorrow.
All the item changes, some
flash
of the new skins,
tomorrow.
The quips, all that stuff. Outside of that, I think we're gonna call it a quick Alani check. I've got Orange Kiss today.
Cherry Twist.
And I actually have an orange one at
there you go. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and call it for today. Chat, thanks so much for hanging out. Had a lot of stuff in Open Beta 8 that we're super excited for y'all to get your hands on in the flash test tomorrow. Again, try out the live server movement test tomorrow as well. We will be back on Wednesday to talk a little bit more about Open Beta 8, probably some God Balance stuff. But until then, hope everyone has a great rest of the day. Peace.